And we are live. Islam, Islam, peace, peace to the family. It's Let's Think Podcast, and we're here today with Brother Rod Hayes. Allow me to rise, giving all thanks and perfect praises unto Allah. Highest honors to his holy prophet. Honors to the forerunner Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Honors to all, and I mean all, each and every one of you who are participating in the comprehensive program of uplifting fallen humanity. I want to say honors to my leadership, Brother L. Portisel, honors to my Grand Sheikah, Sister M. Portisel, honors to all members of the Moorish Science Temple of America, and everyone who is working towards the upliftment of our people. No matter where you are, no matter what group you're a part of, if you're on that mission, I extend my peace. It's not. Today we got Brother Rod Hayes. Hey man, this is first and foremost, let me say the first time I just told you before we actually went live is that the first time I saw you on Brother Richard's show. Was that Black Magic 363?
Yeah.
Yeah. Make sure everybody go to Black Magic 363. Go look at the content, subscribe, view, share. Salute and peace to Brother Rich. I truly appreciate your platform. We got Brother Rod Hayes in the building. First time I heard the brother demonstrate, I was like, whoa. So I say, I'd like to get the brother on Let's Think Podcast and introduce the brother to this platform and our listening audience, Islam. So without further ado, Brother Rod Hayes, tell us a little something about yourself, man, before you dig into the ethos.
Well, my background coming out of growth and development, what was formerly known as the Gangster Disciple Nation, it's the Growth and Development Nation now. So when people hear me say I'm not a Moor, it's because my tribal affiliation, my chief is Larry Hoover. But in saying that, it also have to recognize the chief from the other side of town. If you're from Chicago, which is Chief Malik Angel Bay, we know him as Jeff Ford, right? Mm-hmm. So those are two of the three high chiefs of the land, Big Tookie being the third. So they was all supposed to be the ones that led us out of this oppressive regime, but the system decided under COINTELPRO to take them and many others off the land. Right. So my mission at this point is to alert the tribes that we restoring the tribal systems back to their original state before 1492. We've been in a protracted struggle for the past 500 years, fighting the same enemy, but we never knew that they looked like us and they had pale faces. Mm-hmm. Right. So being one of the most traumatic things to come to the realization of is the real enemy is not the enemy we've been taught, but the enemy that taught us to look somewhere else. Mm. So that's what I'm here for. And I make a marked, clear distinction between righteous Moors and dirty Moors. I do that on purpose with deliberate intent because people need to know that it's not an all Moor, is anti-dirty Moors. And I did a show on Sister Freedom Channel with Taj Tariq Bey where I had him explain who the dirty Moors was. Right, because it really is not my place to drag every dirty Moor out. It's just my place to tell them the Moors that's been doing the work, that have the body of work available for us to get a good Moorish education, like Noble Drew Ali said, which is going to bring us face to face with ourselves, but it's also going to bring us face to face with our enemy. And once we realize this, then we can take all of these movements to a higher level. As they call it in Moorish science, we open and adapt chambers to the public now. This higher thought realm being open to the public, by these discourses and dialogues across clans in order for us to see the kind of enemy on the land, the imposters and the invaders and the usurpers and interlopers, right? And then we have to know who we made alliances with. And the only way you could tell that if you become familiar with the tribal cultures of the land, and then you can see all of the agreements being played out over the years by the different clans across the land, including the immigrant clans that came to give aid and support. Some of them was passed off as the enemy, and they still continue to give us aid and support. No, but you at least say, listen to that European, because I'm going to make him tell you the truth. So you got brothers that's coming up now say, I don't want to read nothing that Paleface wrote. Right? But that ain't what you're supposed to do. Once you get a good Moorish education, you're supposed to study anybody that's a purveyor of higher knowledge. So that's where my perspective comes from. And the rollout of the information we bring in now is the unity doctrine. The unity key was held by Angel Bay. So if anybody want to know who's responsible to unify the chiefs, it was Chief Malik Angel Bay out of Chicago. The spokesman, the chairman of the chief council is Larry Hoover. He got to give a report to the people what happened on the land. But I got to open the way because none of the other chiefs remembered what to do. The one that remembered what to do is the one that's obligated to fulfill the function. And this is the great awakening, the great restoration and reclamation of the land, air and the water.
Okay. So, well, he opened it up. I guess he definitely, made it clear what he's set to do. Yes, sir. Honest. Brother, I heard you on another show and you were speaking about pre-Adamite civilization. And I saw you on Brother Rich's show, like I said, and I also saw you on one show where I think it was you, the dear brother Sharif Anyal Bay, and Blue Pill, wasn't it? Blue Pill, and you touched on a lot of things. You touched on human consciousness. You touched on even the technology of the pre-Adamites, our ancient forefathers, and how behind we were in this day and age in technological advancement. So, first and foremost, without further ado, let's talk about pre-Adamites. Who help the listening audience understand what's being conveyed by that particular title.
So, in the religious realm, they teach us the world was started with Adam and Eve. Right? But that's not true, because in the same book they teaching that doctrine from, it said that it was nations or groups or tribes created before that. Right? That's Genesis 1, 26, 27. Right? Adam don't come about until like later chapter 2 or chapter 3. Right? So it was a group of people here that preceded the laboratory creation of a guru named Adam. Right? Adam is just a generic term for modern hominid or modern humans. When we talk about the pre-Adamic civilization, it's all of the history before the 6,000-year religious dogma that was already here. We got historical records in petroglyphs, hieroglyphs, temple writings of priests that was here before Adam. So there's nothing new under the sun.
Nothing new.
And none of this stuff ain't new. We are living cycles inside cycles. The hard part is remembering how to flip out of the cycle. You interrupt the pattern in order to change the direction that you're going. So the Pre-Adamite is also called the antediluvian races or people. That means people before the flood. Now remember, the flood was after Adam according to their biblical text. But according to geography, it was at least 1,000 years before Adam. Right? And it was in a specific geological location. We call it today the Middle East. But they want us to believe that the entire world was underwater. Well, where all the water go? The modern science say it coalesced at the polar caps. That can't be true because the ice from the polar caps would not dissipate enough water to cover all of the land. It'll cover a lot of land, but it won't never cover all of the land. They had to bring additional water from somewhere else.
Whoa.
Right? But what they do have that can give you the appearance of a global flood is an artificial ice age as a byproduct of nuclear holocaust. This is what we call the collapsing of original civilization. And this is described as the poison winds in some of the ancient texts. The poison winds being the nuclear fallout is what we would call it today. The radiation that comes from the explosion of a nuclear device that kills the things around it after the initial blast. It's the fallout. It's the aftermath. Right? So this strata that they seeing as a flood is actually where the earth was frozen at, and then it thawed out. It was an artificially induced ice age, which make us have to generate a premature golden age at the conclusion of the ice age. We call it leaving the lunar cycle, going into the sun cycle, where the sun rays begin to do things to the earth and to the people on it and the other animals. Right. So when we talk pre-Adam, we talking about all of the history that's longer than 6,000 years ago.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's called drink. You got to drink from that well right there. Because you made several statements that, wow, right. Because what we can know is that, cataclysms have occurred on the planet that, mark events and, which we call milestones. So we have in our teachings a science called periodization, where we measure things by events, just like we have when the prophet says the great earthquake, right? So you were saying a lot right there in science of that. Wow. Talk to me. Oh yeah, before I keep going, listening audience, you have any questions, super chat them. You want them dealt with in a timely fashion, super chatters, super thanks is however you want to do it. The Cash App is most definitely pinned in the comment section. And let me get right back to our brother Rod. Talk to us about the technology, brother. In conjunction with all, talk to us about the technology, because while we're dealing with this internet and all of the things that's going on with technological advances, that we're experiencing. Could you talk to us and take us back and talk to us about some of the technologies that we dealt with during these pre-Adamite civilization, this pre-Adamite time?
Well, one of them is what they used to call in the ancient writings the Papal technology. Today we call med beds and healing chambers. And now flying, the Wright brothers created the airplane, but you got the Vimana Sutras that's a couple thousand years. Right, brother, you have technology.
You breaking up a
What that
little
is,
bit.
I can't control that.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you want me to go again?
No, no, no. I mean, if you nah, you good. Let's keep it going. I mean, you can go yeah, go out and come back in. Yeah, yeah. There we
Hey,
go.
yeah, he was about to get deep.
Yeah, I
He
ain't want the people to miss that right there, bro. I
was
definitely
about to
didn't want
get deep. Hey,
I
that's why I
definitely
just been
didn't want
sitting
the
over
people
here. I just been anticipating what else he about to say next.
yeah. Yeah, the brother definitely be in the ethers with his demo.
Yeah, that definitely is a good breakdown. I want to see what this technology talking about too,
Yes, sir, most definitely.
and what would cause
Oh,
like I
you
said,
gonna
Sounding better now?
yes, sir. We clear now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sometimes I had to do that if people call in, and the phone calls sometimes mess it up. And I had a couple calls come in,
Yes, sir.
but
Yes, sir.
the technology. So if you look up Vamana Sutras, you see that they had flying apparatuses long before the Wright brothers invented the airplane.
Yes, sir.
Long before, long for Abraham, right? You have ancient that's called the words of God's in. It's about earth. So it's
Oh man.
films and charts of ancient technology, and they saying that all of that stuff is pretty much the fancy of the priest, and it was not real.
Mm.
But
The
in
fancy
in the
of the priest.
hieroglyphics, yeah, basically they imagined it a long time ago, but they didn't ever make none of it.
Excuse me for laughing, man.
That's how,
Yeah,
that's how
that's
I be
something.
feeling when I be reading this information. I'm like, the people from 26,000 years ago said they built the airplane and gave us a detailed, comprehensive diagram of how to build an airplane. So if you reverse engineer what they told you and build an airplane, you will know if it worked or not. They did it. That's where the Germans was getting all their technological advancements from. Ancient scrolls that Heinrich Himmler in the Thule Society went to India to get.
mm-hmm.
He mentioned the Thule
I
Society.
read, I read up on that too during
Mm.
that
Yeah,
time. They was trying to find
so
the bloodline.
Didn't the Thule
they,
Society eventually merge it or transition into the Nazis or something?
the Thule Society was the secret society that Adolf Hitler and his upper cabinet was members of. It
Okay.
just so happened that the Nazi Party, which is actually the uh, Ashkenazi Party, that's the
Ashkenaz.
part they don't want you to know.
Uh-oh.
The Nazi is short for Ashkenazi,
Uh-oh.
right?
Uh,
So you trace them back in the Prussian Empire, and they were for the Moors that was running Europe at the time, and they assigned them the accountant seats as mulatto offspring. They couldn't give them birthright, inheritance, rulership, but they allowed them to govern over the money. And they gave them something called Babylonian money magic that they used to make sure that they had the spiritual control of the money, and they kept us from knowing what they was doing, so we couldn't break the conjure. That's why it was always in secret society. The secret is only two things: who we are and how to execute the birth. Two secrets that the matches hold. The rest, what you call an open secret. They write about it and they talk about it in code, but the regular people don't never know what they're writing about. And that's why Noble Drew Ali created the adapt chambers to teach you how to read their codes. Because once you can read their codes, they can't deceive you because you know what they use. Once you know what, you can't make you be a victim to that unless you choose to. And most of us don't want to be victims. Some of us enjoy being victims because it get us attention and affection.
Wow. All right, you got any questions, Jarvis?
Oh, me?
While my wheels turning.
What would you say caused the breakup that happened then to lead us to now? In that
which breakup?
In the
nuclear holocaust. Yeah, it was nuclear holocaust. Global nuclear war.
So
all of these, so if you look up desert glass, they tell you that it was caused by meteorites. Right? But they are radioactive. They got the signature of radioactive materials. They found a 2 million year old nuclear reactor in Western Africa. So we've been knowing about it for a long time, but we don't know we know about it. Because when the nuclear holocaust is the total annihilation of the vast majority of people, we have to go through a process of evolutionary reconstruction. We have to exhume a nation from the ashes of who they. We have to raise a phoenix. We have to restore the original order in order for it to run away as originally. The original order, the matriarchy. This is why I know Drew Ali holding the woman talking about the uplift of the fall of humanity and matriarchs of the planet been usurped by patriarchal homosexuals that's being controlled by homosexual pedophile priest cult in all religions. And it's 3 religions on earth.
That's deep. That is deep. That is deep. That is deep.
Yeah.
Look, Nile River drains into the Mediterranean. The Mediterranean is only there because it's a crater from an explosion. The Nile used to call hazard. All these scientists talk about it all the time, but we ain't never put pieces together, and they talking about our historical record in our face behind our back. So somebody used engineering skills to reroute the Nile River to fill in later. Remember the story of Pompeii and the volcanic explosion?
Yeah.
That's because the Mediterranean, when the bomb dropped, left a crack in the that needed to be filled with a volcano to fill in the crack because the water was spilling in on the people in the inner earth. That's why they make a big deal out of Pompeii. Pompeii not the only volcano to ever go off and take out a mass group of people. But they want us to stay focused on the fact that Pompeii was destroyed by a volcano. And it's wiped out all of them people, but we don't know what is they really putting so much emphasis on this volcano. Right? And I think it was either Washington State or Oregon in the early 80s, they had an explosion of a volcano called Mount Helena. They don't even keep that one in our memory. It ain't but 50 years old, 40 years old. They don't keep bringing that up every time they talk about a volcano, but every time we talk about ancient history, they bring up this Pompeii explosion, and they want us to remember it. Well, who is it trying to keep this in our memory? What is their aim, purpose, and agenda, and who's behind it? Why they don't worry about all of the volcanoes from the islands? You got volcanoes all over Hawaii that exploded in the last 100 years. You got them in Mexico. One blew in Mexico not too long ago. They don't even go back and revisit that now, but they want to revisit this ancient volcanic explosion. That means there's more to it than what they're telling us, right? But when you know that it was a nuclear war and that the Mediterranean is in the whole crater, right? Then it starts changing your perception of why is they bringing these things to our attention. Most of us don't know half of Egypt is under the Mediterranean. What we call the Lower Egypt, which is northern Egypt, the majority of it, about 2/3 of it, is under the Mediterranean. We don't know that, just like we don't know that the Spanish bombed St. Bernard Parish into the Gulf of Mexico. That's part of Louisiana. There was the Spanish and the French was working in concert in that invasion era when they was blowing levees and dams like they did in Hurricane Katrina. I don't even know that it's a whole city right there in the Gulf, right outside New Orleans, where they bombed it into the ground with explosives, setting explosives. It already was below sea level. All you had to do was get a water the opportunity to breach the barriers, blow them up. It's going to sink the city. New Orleans, half of New Orleans right now is below sea level. But the old Mississippians, that's the root tribes of the land, did engineering feats. Like right now, they don't know how the mounds is made all over the land. They don't even like to talk about it. They want us to think that there's only 2 places in the world to find a Great Pyramid. That's Mexico and Giza.
Yeah.
They don't want to talk about the Great Pyramid. China, they call it the Yellow Pyramid. They don't want to talk about the ones in Ireland. Who built pyramids in Ireland? About that. They don't want to talk about none of the pyramids in Europe. They don't want to talk about none of them in what we call today India, Pakistan, Bengali area. They don't want to talk about none of the ones in South America. They got thousands of them in South America. It's more pyramids in North and South America than the rest of the world combined. And they older. So where do civilization really begin? Is the outer Africa theory the facts, or is it the fancy of scholars who want us to believe that everybody came from one place and we didn't simultaneously emerge all over the planet? Control the information, you control the people.
That is a fact.
Yes, sir.
That is a fact.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's a fact.
So, could you tell us what was the? Because I know in our especially in our ancient civilizations, cosmology played a major part. Could you tell us about any of the cosmological wisdom of the Pre-Adamites?
When you read the story of Isis and Cyrus and Set, that's called the drum. It's translated now person place a format. So when you're talking to common people, you can talk to them like you're talking about people, but you're really talking about energy. You're talking about the direction, right? This is what the Jed pillar, the Ankh, the Ba, all of these symbols is talking about energy, or a tool to harness the energy, which is ancient technology. The cosmology or the creators of all of this, everybody was required to write one according to their cultural parameters, because we didn't all see the sky the same from different parts of the planet. So when all of the ancients wrote a cosmology story or a creation myth, they took the energies of creation and they used person, place, or thing so it'll make it easier for you to see it play out in the world around you and reading the stars. Right. So this is why it's important to learn astrology and astronomy. Because in astrology, it's telling you the characteristic of the energy. In astronomy, it's telling you the location of the star responsible for the energy. Right. So when you look at the elders, like Bobby Hemming was like, we all a star. You a star. You walking around, but your ass up there. You ain't really here. This is Bobby Hemming. Right. What is he talking about? Our spiritual essence is the same as a neutron star. Right. Our DNA is a step down capacitor to reduce the amount of energy that the physical self can facilitate at one. You have to slowly build yourself up to what you call maximize your spiritual energy output in the physical world. This is why they say fasting is prescribed. That controls your lower 3 chakras. The periods of silence is required. Why? Because now the middle chakras being the same, which is your other 2 chakras. Now you got 7 active chakras. Awake now. Fully woke. And all of this ties back into understanding as above, so as within, so without. Shout out to C. Freeman Neal. Rise in power, my brother. Nobody explains it better. Metaphysics, very simple to grasp.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Come on, brother Jarvis. I know you got something. I know you got some questions over there. I can see how your face looks.
I'm just soaking it all in, because this is my first time hearing about the pre-Adamite civilization. So, this is foreign knowledge to me. So I'm definitely trying to soak it all in.
I mean, but when we look at the Holy Bible and we look at that narrative, even in their Bible, they said that in their narrative, they said that Adam and Eve only had 2 sons, right?
Mm-hmm.
Cain killed Abel. Cain left and went and got a wife. So, and who was she? You know what I mean?
She just tripped and fell out of heaven and landed on earth. She must have slipped on the streets of gold and slid off. She must have slipped the gold, slid out of heaven and landed on earth. Because according to them, wasn't nobody else here.
But 2 people. But I do have a question. Can you break down the Adam and Eve as just as being a tribe versus just being just how it's explained as just being 2 people? Like how did that come about? How did they get that name as being Adam as a tribe, and how did they get that name as being Eve as a tribe?
Oh, a lot of it you got to go back on 126, 127. Where we say we created male, female, created he, them, plural, right? But this was the matriarchal tribes and patriarchal tribes. Because you talk about Adam, you talking earthborn, because what was he made from? You remember what he was made from?
Well, you ask that question again, brother.
He was made from and what was Adam made from? In the story, they told us that Adam was formed from what?
From the dust
of the earth, right?
Dust, yes.
right? And from the dust you came, into the dust you must return. What happened after the total decomposition of the physical body? What do it turn to? Right? So when you saying Adama or Adam, you really saying earthborn, right? Eve, her name ain't Eve in Hebrew, is Hawa, which means tribal leader. So you have the earthborn being espoused to the tribal leader matriarch. And it said it's because the man leave his mother and father and cleave unto his wife, and they will become one flesh. Two sides of the coin. Right? Then the next time you see the same word, they call his name Adam. Adam is Adam. This is the deception in the text itself. They come from the same root, Adama, which means the ruddy red clay dirt. Only one problem: ruddy red clay dirt from Mississippi. They don't want to talk about that.
Oh, wait a minute.
They don't want to talk about that because it's going to take their biblical narrative from the Middle East and put it where it belongs over here in the Mississippi Delta. But it's the earthborn who's fighting against the Jacob, right? Jacob, when he was the twin brother of Esau, when Esau was being born, what'd he do? He grabbed him by his ankle. Why did he do it? According to the text, to steal his birthright. He was unsuccessful at birth. So what did he do? He doubled back on him when his father became man, dressed up in a fur coat to appear to be as hairy as Esau. But the story is twisted right here because him putting on the fur coat, they didn't wear fur coats in the Middle East. They wore fur coats in cold climates. Think about that for a minute. He put on a mink. And they wasn't wearing minks. They wasn't wearing minks in the Middle East. To deceive his father, gave his father some soup that his mama made after the recipe that Esau used to use. And he went in to deceive his father with this soup in his blandness. And he said when he touched him, he felt his hair. And this is how he knew it was Esau. So he gave Jacob Esau birthright. What do the word Jacob mean in its original language?
Does it mean supplanter?
What is a supplanter? What does a supplanter do?
Demonstrate, man.
It go under the roots. It go under the root in order to replace something. It's called undermining, to dig beneath. And then you replace it at the root. The only way you can replace the earthborn at the root is you have to disassociate them from the earth. But as soon as they remember they earthborn and they got the inheritance of the earth, you can no longer take it from them. They have to surrender it willingly at that point. If they don't surrender it willingly, then they have to start kicking and screaming until the rest of the people similarly situated begin to see what's taking place and join on to form a great big earth front against all those who ain't from here, because we got people came from some strange places. You look around, you even got some strange looking people that we just think that that's part of the human genome. No, nobody allowed to come into the earth realm in a mythical form. It don't mean a mythical form can't be seen through their physical veil. Right? We call it reading their spirit. Oh, she a fairy. He a gnome. He must be related to Bigfoot. Right? So we seeing these traits in the human realm, but we don't know that they can't come in a mythic form. So even though they are human, they mythical form seeps through. Right.
Oh man. You say what? You say the mythical. Oh, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Right. So instead of a fairy coming in as a little fairy flying around, they come in as little people, little, very attractive people. And if they know who they is, and the person that's dealing with them know who he is, they're capable of great magic. But as long as they don't have knowledge of self, they lost. They can't use their magic. That's the earth. That's the great earth trap. Everybody talking about a reincarnation trap. We're not trapped in a reincarnation trap. You trapped in a self-realization trap. You haven't realized who you is, therefore you can't actualize what's in you. That's part of the chapter of misery.
And misery, and I must say, misery, as taught in the More Science Temple of America, Holy Koran, misery is a choice.
Yeah.
It's a choice that you make. So, yes, sir.
So when they ask me, why we been at the bottom so long? My only simplest response is because we the only ones strong enough to take it. If the last gonna be made first, and the first gonna be made last, that means the originals that's in the last position was the strongest because they held the most suffering in the chapter of misery. You can't, oppression is atmospheric. You can only remain oppressed according to your lack of self-knowledge. The more you become self-aware, self-actualized, that oppression begins to become lighter and lighter on your shoulders. You begin to rise up like you float, but your feet firmly planted on the ground until you become a giant on the land. But you're not a physical giant. You're a giant by output. By letting your light shine into the world, you start attracting those who understand what the light is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Tell us more about, because I sense in your dialogue that, tell us more about our ancient empires here, because I've heard you deal with that topic.
If you can think of it, we already did it. Everything that we thinking in this era is residual thoughts from bygone times. When we think we invented something, we didn't. We just rediscovered something that one of our ancestors produced a long time ago, in a time when that particular thing is not in the forefront of the consciousness of the collective unconscious. So we had every civilization from crystal city pyramids to concrete to granite. We done made everything you could think of. I mean, you can't think of nothing that's new. Everything that we think is new, it was already here.
The people at that time just couldn't comprehend what it was.
They knew what it was. They just had a different name for it than we name stuff now. Indeed. Like we call it the healing chamber and the med beds, or healing pods and med beds. They call them sarcophagi, resurrection chambers, what they call them. So you got this dude, crippled 90-year-old man, walk in there, lay down. They put him in a medically induced coma, turn on the sarcophagus, and they begin to genetically repair him to his optimum physical performance, his optimum mental performance, his optimum social awareness. All these things is recorded on your DNA. So the sarcophagi, or the resurrection chamber, which this Lazarus group, I don't know if y'all ever heard of them, but they was a group of billionaires trying to find a way to live forever. We already live forever. That's why we were never looking for that shit. But in this process of being an eternal being, a lot of times we get so caught up in the 3D world, we think this is the end of it. When we leave here, it's over. No, when you leave here, you're going to wake up somewhere else. You're like, man, I just had the coldest dream. I dreamed that I did yada, 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 do. And like, man, you lived a whole lifetime in that dream. Like, yeah, man. And then guess how it ended? I was walking to the liquor store. I got in an argument with this dude and he shot me in the face. And here I am with you telling you the dream. That's what the row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, 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 life is but a dream. That's called the fool's journey. The fool's journey becomes the hero's journey when the fool realizes that he ain't never been nobody fool. But as long as he believes he the fool, he's on the fool's journey, meaning he's making foolish choices. When he no longer being the fool, he becomes the hero, rising to complete his own story according to his book of life. And most of us don't look back and reflect on our life to try to figure out, why did I learn all this shit? Like, I'm sitting here telling people stuff like, this stuff ain't even interesting to me. I just know it from just studying, trying to be a better me. I'm like, this is like simple stuff, but to other people, they like, whoa. Right? Because we walked a different path. And I followed a different set of instructions than most. Most people was being told what to do by the society. I was being told what to do by elders that live in the society that don't agree with the society. And it's a difference because you can be a national until the contract expire. Once the contract expired July the 4th, 2019, if you don't know it expired, you're going to be still pushing nationalism when nationalism is being trumped in real time by sovereign position. If you understand the difference between the national and the sovereign, you know the national nationals get instructions from sovereigns. Nations are told what to do by sovereigns. If you're not sovereign, then you're a subject to a nation as a national. And in order to assume your national identity, you must become a citizen to the state you make your national allegiance to. That means you giving them the trust to handle all of your affairs because you saying that the nation that you under knows how to facilitate you handling your affairs better than you do. That's why you're not in your sovereign capacity. The side effect to that is the Catholic Church said that everybody on earth is an imbecile until they come and make claim to their rightful inheritance. They are imbeciles. In the meantime, the Pope is going to administer everybody's estate. That's a series of papal bulls that was put out by 3 different popes in the 1300s. We don't know nothing about that because we don't read papal bulls. We don't know what them people talking about. I'm just nosy as hell.
Well, you know, as Moorish American Muslims, you know, it's I think it's pertinent that we study Papal bulls because shout out to my brother Sharif Anyal Bey and his debate with Brother Reggie. He began to expose a lot of Papal bulls that I would say that I wasn't aware of. And he illustrated that, you know, the very conditions that we live in today, which in some regards are directly related to the effects of being in chattel slavery for hundreds of years. However, the Papal bills show us that the very act of what we know as the transatlantic slave trade was known and written as a new crusade against the Moors. So these things are exposed in Papal bulls. So I think it's very pertinent that we we make those a part of our study material.
So it's only one caveat, what you just said. The righteous Moors is the ones that's under attack. The Catholic Church is under the auspices of being directed and told who to attack by dirty Moors. The righteous Moors is the ones that's under the same sleep order. We call it the George Washington Challenge. It's a blood oath, blood ritual done by the Masonic lodges by writing the secondary constitution in the blood of Crispus Attucks. So we got amnesia and they got amnesia. In 200 years, we're going to see who's going to remember what side of the water they come from, because you look just like each other, but y'all not wired the same psychologically. They'll believe in selling their mom, the dirty Moors, and their children. The righteous Moors, they don't believe in that. They believe that the men is the front line protection, as the muftis to protect the matriarchs and the children. The dirty Moors be like, how much you want for that? Their energy and their psychology is not the same. Mm-hmm. And this is why a lot of the dirty Moors, they want my blood, because I can come and talk to the righteous Moors. They know exactly what I'm talking about. The dirty Moors sound like they confused. They not confused. They know what they deliberately want to under the righteous Moors from claiming this inheritance. Right? So the Pope, he kissed the feet of them sorry, dirty SOBs. He don't come over here kissing our feet, though. Right? We had to put him on public notice in Canada in order for him to repeal the discovery doctrine. What do that mean? Fruit of the poison tree doctrine and law. Right? Under the fruit of the poison tree, rescinded discovery, rescinded all missions to settle the Americas and anywhere else in the world that the colonization team went as conquistadors, because that was the first ones they sent out. It means conquerors of the Tudor family. The Tudors is nobility families that don't want to be known. They was hiding out in Switzerland. Now they didn't evacuated them and cleared them all. I don't know what they did with all them up. There was a whole lot of them. Now they showing us that the tunnels over there is clear. The underground bunkers that they lived in as the Amun priests. The unknown priest that was ruling the world with the black hand from behind the scenes. So the Pope, he ain't really the one running nothing. He figurehead that's going to take the fall when we get up and we think he behind and he the first one we going for. He ain't even the one calling the shots. He having the shots dictated to him by somebody else. The same with Buckingham Palace, the same with the military industrial complex, the same with the central banking network of the world. They all are owned and ran by the same people. And they look like us, but they ain't us.
Yes, sir.
Look, this why the righteous gotta have a the rest of the clans. Because the dirt of the dirty Moors is gonna make all Moors look bad to the rest of the clans. Let that sink in for a minute. The dirt of the dirty Moors is going to make all Moors look bad. But the righteous Moors don't feel like that. They don't feel like that because they told you what they was doing and you didn't get it. Then now give them the free run to use that as an exploitation tool. The dirty Moors be like, yeah, I told them, but since they ain't want to listen, I might as well take their money. The righteous more are going to do what Ty Sharik Bey been doing for 50 years. Keep saying it over and over until one of us get it. 50 years, a long time to keep saying it over and over till one of us get it.
That definitely is a long time. Definitely. I know we had a question in the group chat.
Let's see.
I think somebody was asking to it be. What was that question?
No, they got it because you answered it. You asked the question before they could ask it.
No, it's before we got started. Brother Bay, he says so. Genesis 1:26, 27. He said Adam and Eve were different people.
He's asking. So Genesis 1:26 to 27 and Adam and Eve were different people. So he's asking the individual spoken of in the first chapter of Genesis 26 and 27 and Adam and Eve, were they distinct people or were they different?
According to the text, it was distinctly different groups of people, and this is how you know. Because after those people was created on the sixth day, I think it was the fifth or the sixth day, the seventh day he rested, right? According to the text. Right. But then he woke up in the next chapter and decided, let us, now keep this in mind, the pronouns being used. Let us, plural, make man in our, plural, image. After our, plural, likeness. Right? Now, in the Moorish Science Temple, they teach that the Elohim is the seven creative spirits. Right? Mm-hmm. And these seven creative spirits, because everywhere they're saying God in Genesis chapter 1 is Elohim, is plural. In ancient Egypt, the seven creative spirits precede the seven before the Ogdad, right? So the seven creative spirits is also known in the Christian world as the seven archangels. Right. So now we getting closer into what they function is as a spirit of creation by the power of the seven archangels. Right. So this pluralism, the ones that's saying, let us make man in our image, is actually a contract. You got to go to what Genesis means. It means genealogy of Isis. Men used to not exist on Earth at one point. Male, the gender male was absent throughout all their species. That's why they can't never tell you what sex a dinosaur was. They all produced through parthenogenesis. Then a new science being created to create the male or the masculine gender to manifest in the realm of opposites in order for polarity to exist. You have to create opposing energies. Those opposing energies is revealed in the human genome as X chromosome, Y chromosome, right? So the creation of Adam can be looked at in multiple different ways depending on which of the ancient texts that you draw the reference from. Because from some of the ancient texts, Adam is the creation of the first man. But in some of the other ones, he is the creation of the first Lulu Amalu worker class, drones, right? The problem is supposed to procreate according to the Sumerian tablets, right? They were supposed to continuously,
Say that last part again. It had broke up. Well, you say before you said they wasn't.
Right, they wasn't supposed to be able. The drone, the Lulu Amalu, was not supposed to be able to procreate on their own. Okay. But they got tired of making them in the laboratory. So they altered the genetics of the Lulu Amalu and made it a different hominid, a different species of human.
Pardon me for a second, brothers. Y'all keep going.
Mm-hmm. So you saying they wasn't supposed to procreate, but they got tired of them. They got tired of making them in the lab. So you saying they
Gave them reproductive, gave them reproductive rights.
Okay.
But when they gave them reproductive rights, they also shortened their lifespan by about 90%. You went from living 1,200 years to living 120. And then they started poisoning people in the 1900s to shorten that. Now the average lifespan is about between 62 and 72 years of age.
Mm-hmm.
Right? That's because the telomere's been rolled back. Then they added something that's called the human aging hormone. But a lot of us don't even know. And they put it in all of the animals. So it'll look natural. So everything got a shorter lifespan. Mm-hmm. Right? The average dog, the average German Shepherd lived 15 years.
Legit.
Right?
And mine, and I can attest to that because mine lived 10 years, 12 years, and his hip went bad. And once his hip went bad,
his whole health started to decline.
He dropped in a couple of months. So I can definitely attest to that.
Now imagine when you had a German Shepherd that lived to be 100 years old. He didn't even start slowing down till he was close to 90.
Right.
Now everything got a shorter lifespan. Why would you want everything to have a shorter lifespan? Because they live thousands of years. We live less than 100. Who gonna have the automatic advantage?
Right.
Right? Because every time we come back, we have to try to remember everything from our past lives. So they created this stuff called education in order to prevent us from exhuming ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So in the exhuming of a nation, shout out to Pleasant Bay, in the exhuming of a nation, we follow the sacred drift along a Moorish path so that we can perceive what the navigators are seeing over the eons in order to navigate us in the future where they was trying to get to in the past. And then we get to see all the obstacles they was faced with so that we can make the provision to go around them, through them, or over them, or under them. But they won't stop us like they did our ancestors.
Correct.
Right. So this is what we call finding the common ground. Right. Once the common ground is found, then you know where the holy ground is, because the holy ground is wherever you standing with full knowledge of self.
Mm-hmm.
And you made it that way by knowing who you were.
So we have another question for you from Aaron Hunt. It says, are there any beings that are still alive from the 18th and 19th century?
Yeah. Look, they got people in all over the world that's over 200 years old. They don't want to be seen on average. Most of them try to conceal who they is because it's a death sentence if they realize that they didn't surpass the natural life age attributed to us by learning how to hack a biology to move beyond the restrictions that they put on us in laboratories.
Mm. 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 And then we must also understand, we get into higher spiritual sciences. You know, there are particular masters who have had the ability to leave their body for extended periods of time and come back and the body be preserved. So, you know, certain human beings have reached those particular degrees, and there are some that are documented. So you could you know, especially look up Babaji.
I was
He was
just
a
about to say that.
yes, sir. And talk to us about Babaji then, brother Rod Hayes.
His name, they call him the great uh Maha Avatar, the great avatar, the great incarnation. He also have a sister. I can't pronounce her name, but it's a Hindu name. But him and his sister is hundreds of thousands of years old, but they get to incarnate, disincarnate whenever they want to. They traverse the earth as a ball of light until they find where they want to incarnate, and then they just walk up to you like a regular person. Right. So the first time I encountered the information about Babaji was in autobiography of a yogi. Then I started looking for him in other places and found that there was other Hindus that wrote about him over the years before Paramahansa Yogananda. By the way, that's one of the coolest books I ever read, talking about literary masterpiece. And I was laughing because he was talking about his struggle with the English language. And what made that funny to me is people that speak English, that some of them words they gonna need a dictionary for.
Yeah.
And they can be scholars. He gonna hit you with some words.
Yeah, man. You know, I read about Babaji too, man, and it said doing it. He showed up throughout time. Sometimes as a in the image of a younger person. Sometimes he showed up in the image of a elder, etc. So I found that very, very, very interesting because you know the narrative that we have been under for the the past hundreds of years has restricted our ability to see beyond the restrictions that this narrative places on us. So, you know, when you read things like that, it tends to. I remember the Holy Prophet saying, "I could tell you some things that'll turn your brains to water." So it's and that's a great analogy of how it can do the brain, the comprehension level of some people. But in our essence, you want that. You know, I feel like we should want that barrier to be broken down. And then sometimes it just has to be broken down in degrees, just not too fast. But you
So
know,
Elijah Muhammad say, can't wake them up too fast, because if you do, they're gonna tear something up.
they attributed that statement to the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
The one that you said was Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Yeah.
You know. But I think I have read where he said that too. Right. That's why, and there was part of Elijah saying, make it plain enough for a baby to understand it. Because if you can take these metaphysical formulas and break them down into person, place, or thing, you can explain them to people. Right. But if you can't break them down and you have to keep that long, drawn out physics formula on the chalkboard, some of them not going to never get it because they don't know what all the symbols are in the math.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother, you. So you from where you from, brother? Right.
I was born in Chicago, raised between Michigan and Chicago. I'm currently right outside Detroit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, brother, man. Well, you gave him a load of information tonight, didn't you? And I knew that was gonna happen. That's why I brought you on, man, to shift it, you know, to get the people. Cause see, our intentions, me and the brothers' intentions here at Let's Think Podcast is to give brothers a platform to share their light. You know, I'm not saying that I will agree with everyone that I bring on here. However, I feel as though we are all working or should be working towards the same thing, and that's uplifting our people in whatever capacity that we have been gifted to do it. So, you know, as I've told others, they know I'm a Moorish American Muslim. I'm in the Moorish Science Temple of America. But they know, because I always express it as I expressed it to you before we went live, is that this channel is not confined to the Moorish doctrine. It's not. We're going to see different perspectives. We're going to have those with different doctrines. However, the I would say the criterion to come on Let's Think podcast is have a mind geared towards reconciliating differences, unity, and moving in a way with each other. First and foremost, as the Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated, learn to love instead of hate.
That's it.
You know what I'm saying? So that's our goal here, and to show that in real time. Not saying no one else is, but we're taking it upon ourselves to show and demonstrate it in real time. So the good brother Ron Hayes does drop bombs. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. I watched him, like I said, I watched him on Brother Richard's show, and I was like, oh yeah, let me get the brother on our channel. You know what I mean? And because I see you been putting in a lot of work, bro. My brother been putting in the work, because after I saw him there, you know, it's like once I tapped on a video where you were in it, it just seemed like a lot of your videos started popping up in my algorithm. And then when I posted that you would be on Let's Think podcast, the algorithm is so smart, it just started bringing up all your stuff. So I got a list full of videos I haven't had a chance to look at, and I'm gonna go check them out. You know what I mean? Any last questions or any last remarks that you would like to give us before we sign out? We've been in an hour and close to 2. We're going on. We're over the hour and a half.
Oh, some hour and some change.
Yeah, that's an hour and 12 minutes, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a question for the from the brother. What brought you to the knowledge?
Self-improvement. When I got locked up, I was literally illiterate.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the county, I had hours and hours of dialogue with a brother named Everett X from the Nation of Islam. In the course of that, one day we were talking, and I was talking about how bad I needed a dictionary because I was running across words I'd never seen before. A brother that was a black disciple, we just called him BD. He was an OG. He went in his cell, he came back out, and he gave me a giant dictionary. I never seen a dictionary that big in my life, but it had so many words. And I started studying the dictionary. At the same time, he ended up getting a bunkie. For those who don't know, your bunkie or your cellie is the person you in the cell with in the 2-man cell when you locked up. But he was a OG El Rookin, right? And me and him chopping the game up, he introduced me to some more El Rookins. One of them introduced me to the Noble Drew Ali's Moorish Science. I don't remember his name, but he brought me to Circle 7. At the same time that's going on, my brother is up here in Michigan. He sent me a couple of the Revelation editions from the back then Hebrew Israelite Islamic Hebrew, Nubian Islamic Hebrews.
So that was wasn't that Dr. Madakazi York?
Yeah, back then he was known as Asayid Isa al-Hadi al-Mahdi.
Yeah, man, Imam Isa, yeah.
Right. So I end up meeting the Vice Lord, a 4-star league Vice Lord, and his name was James Delaney. He ended up becoming a Hebrew Israelite when he got upstate. But when me and him was chopping the game up, we would go and dissect literature,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and he introduced me to Willie Lord in the county.
But that Lord is
Willie Lord from the Vice Lords.
okay. I never heard of that.
Yeah, he off the west side of Chicago. Anybody on Chicago west side knew exactly who Willie Lord is. All Vice Lords know who he is, and a lot of the folks and most of the Stones know who he is. Very few people from Chicago don't know who Willie Lord is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Anyway,
I'm not familiar with him. I'm familiar with the Vice Lords, but I'm not. You know, I don't have that much extensive history on their history.
Yeah, the Vice Lords they had at the time they had 5 kings until he got killed, and I think they got 4 left, and I think he been replaced since he crossed over. But all this was the beginning of me studying everything.
Mm-hmm.
The sister came in and she was giving us a lecture, and during the course of her lecture, she said, "Get your PhD. You don't need the paper, you need the knowledge."
Mm-hmm.
She say, "They don't have to know what you studying. They know what we studying." Well, look, it's a book called War at Home, right? One of the things they talk about is what they call the library book reference catalog at the FBI office. When certain books is ordered, they watching you from that point on. When you check them out in the library or you buy them, their ISBN number, it go right to who you is. That's why I like to buy used books, because they're harder to track. They're not in the system, you know.
Well, you know.
But anyway, that just sent me down a rabbit hole, and here I am sticking my head out the other side.
That was deep.
Yeah, I like that one. I'm gonna use that one, brother. Yeah, I like that. I like that. Man.
Look, one of the things that you said that's very important for us to understand, everybody not supposed to always agree on everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, sir.
As soon as somebody wants you to only agree with them, they trying to control you, because they taking away your right to think for yourself. They saying that you're not competent to have your own thoughts, so you got to follow the thoughts I give you.
Mm-hmm.
When we had differences of opinions, that don't mean we hate each other. That means that our background and history and our learning is different. So now we got to bridge the gap, and that's going to create a wider knowledge base than if one of us to claim to got it all. Don't know one of us got it all, but all of us got a piece. And when we put all the pieces together, we can put together a very big puzzle.
I agree.
So we can't take away people's right to think the way that they want to think, because we don't know what their spiritual mission is. Just because we living in the physical world, some of us came in 3D, fixed position reality, in order to help the other people that was trapping themselves with ignorance, right? And they were suffering in misery. And then you go back to the circle 7. Weak and insufficient as thou art, O man, and good. Here's one thing in which you are firm and obstinate, and his name is misery. When people start trying to take your misery away, you fight for it like they're trying to take your joy. Give me back my misery. Coming over here teaching me this freedom information. Don't be trying to free me from nothing. I get good attention as a victim, as a ex-slave fighting for reparations. that's irrelevant when you fight for your birthright. You don't need reparations if you fight for your birthright. Right? And the birthright is by the blood. So by the blood and the right, you redeem. We take away people's ability to think for themselves and you telling them what to think, you're not leading them. You misleading them. Knowing or knowing these. A lot of them know what they're doing and they use that to make them a centerpiece to live a life of luxury in the presence of everybody else's misery. Let that sink in. You can't think your own thoughts. If you don't think my thoughts, then you got to go. You are enemy. That's not the enemy. The enemy is the one that try to cut you off every time you try to make progress. The enemy don't look like we want him to look. He look like who he is. And sometimes one of our best friends can be another one of our worst enemy. So you got two people encountering the same person. He the best friend and loyal confidant to one, but he's the scourge to the other one. And that's why everybody can't be judged using the same judgment stick, because we all walked a different path. The only true judgment is the judgment of self, and the only true condemnation is the condemnation of self. And you condemn yourself when you forego who you are to assume the position of being somebody you're not. And this is why all of the ancestors, I don't care whether it was Elijah Muhammad, Noble Drew Ali, Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Clarence 13X, Yahweh ben Yahweh, all of them said knowledge of self is the key. And I couldn't figure out what the hell they was talking about. So I started studying my physiology, my anatomy, my psychology, right? I'm studying all that now. I'm trying to get knowledge of self. I'm trying to do a self-improvement program, as Farrakhan called it. But I'm writing it myself. I'm not letting nobody write it for me. I know from what my father told me when I was a little boy, he said, the power is the knowledge. Right? Once you know how to use the knowledge, that's when you get to exercise power. But first you got to get the knowledge. What Tupac say? He said, I didn't get all this power from running the streets. I got this power from books, from reading, from studying. Reading is weightlifting for the brain and the ability to see the 3D from somebody else's perspective without you ever leaving who you are at your source. Right? So when we read other people's material, we just looking at their worldview out of their eyes instead of out of our own eyes. And the more angles we can look at a common problem, the more eyes we got on the solution. Because the solution is always in the problem.
Yes, sir. Yeah. And Brother Hayes do make you think. And that's why the name of this podcast is Let's Think. Because on this platform, everybody who graces this platform will have the ability to do just that and express how they do that. You know, I'm not here to tell people what to think about, nor how to think about it. However, let's begin to think before it becomes illegal.
So what good is to have freedom of speech if you don't have freedom of thought?
Because I mean, at that point, that means whatever comes out of your mouth is going to be already dictated by somebody else's thinking.
Exactly. You can't get more accurate than that. Can't get no more accurate than that. You have to give people a right develop on their own. You can give them the tools. You can't walk nobody's path for them. But you can tell them how you navigated your path on a similar obstacle they face with. And that might be just enough to get them unstuck.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Peace, brother. Awareness Daily. Peace. Yeah. Awareness Daily always in the building. Peace. Peace. Yes, sir,
He said, the
man.
man in the mirror is the reflection of the man within the Holy of Holies.
Ooh.
As within, so without.
So look, the Holy of Holies is the uterus. The man who comes out of the uterus. This is the Blackstone science. Blackstone sits on the Kaaba. It's a black rock in a silver plate, right? When you look in it, it looked like a demon looking out, but it's not a demon. It's the image reflected from the temple of Tahuti on the other side of the world, right? And in the temple of Tahuti in southern Mexico, it's a protrusion from the temple looking at the face or looking at its reflection in the yoni. This is the science behind man securing the right from a female, a woman, to reproduce itself in kind. You have to enter the Holy of Holies, leave your offering as the jism, and then she's going to multiply it and return you a child in 9 months. So the man in the mirror is your self-reflection coming out of the Holy of Holies as you birthing yourself through the womb of your counterpart. This is the great work. The great arcana is what it's called. Right? The great work is the building of the temple of man, the physical body. Right? And the physical body is assembled in the womb of the mother, in the Holy of Holies, the sacred place. It's called that because it has a direct link to Prime Creator. And it is by the will of the Creator that allows that portal to bring a new soul or an old soul into the 3D realm. And then once the soul of man becomes enlightened through erudition and training, he's no longer called the soul of man. He's called Solomon, the wise one. Right? And the wise one is the son of David, the beloved. So then you see the stories play out again in the physical realm, but are you really paying attention to what it's saying? So in the Disciple Nation, King David, that's David Barksdale. Solomon is Larry Hoover. And now one comes from the same land, wiser than Solomon. And that can only be one, Tahuti. The manifest incarnation of wisdom, who sit at the feet of the master, and the master is the mother. And from the mouth of the mother, wisdom lands on the heads of the babes. This is your childhood programming on how to be your best self. Ask your mama what was she praying for when she was pregnant with you, and then you'll get a glimpse into why you came here, what you came to do. Elijah Muhammad said the prayers of the nation is answered through the womb of the women. And the prayers of the mother is answered by the child in her womb. So what is your mama praying for? So now you see that all of them 60s babies that was being slaughtered in the streets was from the fear of the rise of a black messiah who could incite the masses and unify what they called the black nationalist movements of the day. That's what we're doing today. They tried to stop us, and I laughed at them. How you think you're going to fight God and win? if you really know who God is. That's some arrogant, self-centered, entitled ignorance and foolishness. You're not gonna never be God. Big Mama always gonna produce a son or a daughter that's gonna answer the problem and bring the solution. And sooner or later, the people gonna catch on and they're gonna follow the solution. When they get tired of the blind leading each other into the ditch, they're gonna follow the one who's leading the way with the big stick. They call him the shepherd.
Mm-hmm.
So we walk soft, but we carry a big stick.
Yep. Yep. See, I understand the symbolism.
Yeah.
Yeah. He talking about something.
Yeah.
If you know, you know. Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. Ah. You know what? You know what the brother, you see how the brother talk? It's like he shifts in and out of gear. Like he'll slow down. It's a thought to come to him and he'll take us off again. You know what I'm saying? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I enjoy his dialogue, man. I enjoy his dialogue. Do I have any questions? Let me see. Let's talk about Big Mama. I heard you use that terminology in other shows. So I would like for you to break Big Mama down. Talk about it.
When we talk about Big Mama, we talk about Prime Creator, the Dark Mother, the primordial waters of the noon in which the Great Father created himself from. But he really didn't create himself. He is the manifestation of the love and the light of the Dark Mother, who comes into our reality as a solar orb, right? And Big Mama, when she manifests a expression of herself on Earth, this becomes the Big Mama of the planet. What she holds what's called the Isis seat. We think that Isis is one person. Isis is a title. The title is for the grand matriarch of the planet. In Sumer, she was called Inanna. In India, she's called Kali Ma, right? And they call her Kali Ma in India because she is the true timekeeper. Everything happens in a converging process according to the physics, right? So when we say Big Mama, we all seen a matriarch in our families that held the families together, and when she left, the family fell apart.
Yeah, my Big Mama.
For sure. Well, I think we all can bear witness to that.
Yeah, my Big Mama, my Meemaw.
Mm-hmm. We got more than one name for her. We call her Big Mom, Meemaw, Nana.
Nana, yes.
You know, some people call her Auntie something. She's somebody auntie, right? Yep. Then you got kids that ain't even her nephews and nieces call her auntie, right? So we got a lot of names for her. My dear.
I'm gonna tell you another common name for her in America. Miss Mary.
Oh yeah, everybody know who Miss Mary is wherever you go.
That was my grandmama's name too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man.
But you know the irony of that is that's one of the names used for Isis. In the Latin, Mary means rebellious woman, right? But when you go to Kemet, she means mother of all of us. And that's why the mitochondria is the only thing, the furthest tracing genetic strain of the human. It outstrips the Y chromosome by thousands of years, if not millions. in the soil is called archaea, Archea. So it's in the soil and it's in the women. The women can control it and pass it. The men becomes recipient of it, but they can't pass it on. That means your rulership comes from your fatherland, but your inheritance comes from your motherland.
Mm. 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 Good. Okay. And I most definitely heard that concept. Yes, sir. I guess we'll take one more question out the chat.
Yes,
So
sir.
Vaz Bay asks, so who was the first person that God created before Adam? Now, before the brother goes into that, who was the first people? He didn't say persons. Thank you. So who was the first people that God created before Adam?
Well, the history of Earth go back so far that we don't have a still continuing existence identification for the first people created. The oldest ones recorded to date is what we call the Atlanteans. And they had a golden age civilization for the longest time of any people that ever existed. Since then, anyway, if it was somebody before then, they've been lost to antiquity.
Mm. Mm. So these were some of the so you're talking about basically right back to the Pre-Adamite civilization.
Mm-hmm.
And as we look into history, we see remnants of it. You know what I'm saying? Definitely see remnants of it. So yeah, the Atlanteans, and their technology was so. We had the brother Sharif demonstrate some things, but listen, great question, brother Vaz Bay. What time is it? Oh yeah, it's about time. It's about time to cut it loose. I got to handle some things in the house before it get too late.
Yes, sir.
Brother Rod Hayes, if there's any other thing that you would like to say before we close out.
No, just keep your eyes open because at any minute now we're gonna get some kind of information. I can't tell you when it's gonna come, but it's going to let us know that we really back in charge. We watching the system fall. Keep an eye on the banks, because when the Fed fall, that's when Big Mama Bank go at high. Big Mama Bank is the bank that we all tied to for our earthborn inheritance. So watch the banks, and you just have to be aware that the Joe Biden fiasco is a whole studio production. The whole presidency is a studio production. It's not real.
Bruh. Mm. You know what? You know what we're gonna do, brother Hayes? We're gonna leave that for our very next topic. I like the way you we were putting these puppets up on the platform, you know what I mean? You know. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Brother Hayes, I really appreciate you coming on, brother. I want to apologize because we were supposed to be on days before today, but you know how things, you know how just how a week can derail you. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah,
everything in divine time.
Yes,
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And yeah, man, we look to have you back on. You're more than welcome to hit me up, like, bro, if you want something, if you have anything to talk about that you want to talk about, you just let me know the date. We can get it done. Also, I want to get. I'm gonna hire brother Sharif because I heard you. Man, listen, it ain't even enough. It is enough time, but I get beat up if I spend that much time. Like, it's a lot. I had like this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go write down my questions, and I'm gonna put together some points of dialogue, and I would like to get him and brother Sharif back together to have this, some of these dialogues, because bro, like we could talk about the extraterrestrial conversation. We could, like, me and bro, I done heard so many things he's talked about that I've had some questions about right now, and it'll have us here for another 2 hours and possibly longer. You know what I mean? So I'm asking you to come back. It'd be great to have you back. And whenever you have that time, you let me know and we'll make it happen. Yeah, this is a good one. This is gonna be on rewind for the next day or two because I have to go and pull my pen and pad out and take my notes. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, and what is that? By your spirit, Lord. Hey, make sure you write those questions. Yeah, write those questions down. Make sure you tune in on the next show and bring your questions for Brother Rod Hayes. He takes on the questions. You see, he didn't hesitate to answer anyone.
And I don't got no problem telling you if I don't know.
Exactly. Me too. I'm big on I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm big on I don't know.
But you ain't gonna ask me the same question twice, and I'm gonna give you the I don't know. I don't know the first time, but when next time you ask, when I come back, I had an answer.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Instead of the ourselves approval under God within self. Yes, sir. We must do that, man. I enjoyed you. Anything you got to say, Brother McGriff, because you sitting over there?
Oh nah, man. I just been listening. And taking and soaking it all in.
Yes, sir.
Like they say, if you don't know nothing, it's best just to be quiet and just listen.
Yes, sir.
Hey, you look just like one of my nephews. I had to look at you for a minute. Like, wait a minute, what the wizard?
I probably am, man. We got family everywhere, man.
Hey, bro, ain't that the truth?
We got family everywhere.
Ain't that the truth, man? Ain't that the truth?
We literally scattered. I know I could call down to any state in the union and get a relative.
Well, I'm in North Carolina. So
North Carolina. I'm in South Carolina.
So he's in South Carolina.
So you got
look. This is the last thing I'm gonna say, then I'm gonna let y'all end it. All of the Moors, the women's Moorish consulate, and the women grand sheiks, this they time. Y'all gotta sound the alarm inside the temple that this time for the grand sheikesses to step out front and take their day in the sun. It's their turn. This is the uplifting the fallen humanity. So yeah, y'all a heads up on how to move faster through the process. Y'all have to protect the women and let them speak openly. If you can't do nothing else, bring as many of them sisters, them elder women on your show as possible to talk to the people, because they got a different story to tell us than we hearing from the world. It's their time to shine.
Yes, sir. And we planning a show with the sister Moorish American Muslims. I also plan on getting some sisters. I'm working on getting some sisters from the nation on. And then I would like to eventually put them together on one show so they can share, their expressions, their experience in Islam in America, and just talk about, the contributions of sisters in America, from their perspective and what they're contributing to the experience. So yeah, brother, it's kind of, you know, that law governs all events. That's no strange happening. So I had, man, didn't we just talk about that, Raphael?
Facts. I just confirmed with everything we
Yeah,
talked.
yeah. So yeah, we definitely we need to get on that one. We bring that one up. Like, yeah, we need to get on that one like ASAP.
And they are here trying to be heard, but it's a lot of the dirty Moors trying to silence them. And we need the righteous Moors brothers to step up and say, let them sisters be heard.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this the
You don't,
platform for.
yeah. And then this is where they come to just to think. Let them think out loud. Don't put no restrictions on them. Don't set no topic. Hey, sister, you grand sheikahs over there, can you come over here and just give us a kupa, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Give
Yes,
us
sir.
an hour for Juma, something, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, it's their time to be heard. And all of the righteous Moorish brothers, it's their time to put a circle around them sisters so that they can be heard without the fear of the wrong people, you know, stepping to them the wrong way.
Well, I'm gonna say this, man. Let's Think Podcast is that platform for you to come demonstrate. I don't restrict anyone, even though, like I said, I may not even, you know, like I probably won't agree with everything. But at the end of the day, you know, I understand that our unity is much more needed than our arguments.
And most of the arguments is based on somebody who don't want somebody else to think for themselves.
Right. So I'm, you know, Let's Think Podcast. That's what we do over here. You know, that's what we do over here. We open the door and give a platform to those. As long as you come in the spirit of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, we're not tripping. You know what I'm saying? We just want to build. You know what I'm saying? You know, and I may, you know, and I don't. One thing I don't have to do is make my channel purely about my perspective, because I live my perspective day in, day out. You know, I walk it, I talk it, I eat it, I sleep it. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I want, and I truly enjoy hearing other people's perspective. I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I really enjoy it, because I do feel like, you know, that just like the eye sees beauty in all of the colors. All of the colors coming together makes one beautiful thing. And I just feel like, and that's music. That's harmony. You know what I'm saying? That's the beauty of art. Especially when we start getting into the higher sciences and the esoteric wisdom behind these particular things. But we ain't gonna go on with that, because like I said, it'll be 2 more hours. Um, yeah, so that's my thought, you know. And as I've said before, I really don't talk, I teach, I teach in the temple. I really don't here. I'm here to give a platform for those who want to teach. And plus I'm a student too. I like to listen. I like to learn. You know what I'm saying? I think I'm a better student than I am a teacher. And I think my brother McGriffell, I don't know, he'll be over there trying to, he'll say he'll be contending between those two thoughts. But I feel like I'm a better student. I like to read. I like to sit down. I like to listen. I like to ponder. I like to contemplate. So yeah, this Let's Think Podcast is where we're going to demonstrate that unity. That's exactly what's going to be demonstrated over here. And as you see, you have my brother Sheikh Bilal. He comes on. Sharif Anya Bey, he comes on. Brother Khalil Ali Allah has came on. Who was that? Really? Dr. Paul Dyer. He's come on. So we're bringing brothers from different walks of life, different professions, And we're gonna continue to do that. You know, we're not gonna make this channel just, you know, we're gonna grow with time. And we're glad that you came by. So, you know, to bring that message, you know, and everybody that has been on the platform, we all have the same goal. You know, we don't deal with the, you know, with the disunity. We're not dealing with the division or the separation. So
Well, if you go to page 4, I think it's page 4, circle 7, 10 and 11. One of them verses say, "And the angel came and took the key away." That angel was Angel Bait. The key was P that he put so proudly in the middle of P Stone. Right? So they went from Blackstone Rangers to P Stone Rangers to El Rookins. Right? The rook on the chessboard is the tower guard, the guard tower. Right? Move straight left, move straight forward, move straight right, but it always moves straight. The bishop, that's T. Rogers, move at an angle. But the head of the science, the king on the board, right now is in what we call phantom form. It's Noble Drew Ali for the Moorish Science Temple. But for the Nation of Islam, it's Elijah Muhammad. But for the Nuwaubian, the United Nuwaubian Nation of Moors is Malachi York. Each one of them got a different board they playing. But that's part of fifth dimensional chess because you got chess boards layered on top of each other with different kings on each layer. And once you can identify the kings on each layer, then you can tell the people, we were supposed to listen to him at this time, but because y'all didn't listen, then he had to leave so that he can come. When y'all didn't listen to him, he left so that he can come. Right? All the way down the line, tit for tat, left to right, forth and back, all over the fifth dimensional chessboard. This the coup de grace, right? The grand finale, the big finish. It's the return of the matriarchy and the restoration of the righteous. We can look at it however we want to look at it, but as long as we tell people to improve themselves, that's the best information we can give them. Self-improvement information, because through the knowledge of self, it begins to open up the knowledge of the universe. And that, my brother, is an adept measure.
Yes, sir. Well, we were live. If you missed this one, hey, just, you know, praise be to Allah. Only thing you got to do is hit the rewind button, and you can catch it all. You can catch it all. Everybody in the chat, please hit the like button. Please hit the like button. Share this video to your social medias. Share this video with your family. You know, and I'm not telling ones to share this for any selfish purposes. I'm saying share the information. Sharing is caring. Share the information. And also, what it does is allow other people to know that, you know what, we have scholars amongst our own people. People that are well studied in their areas, in their specific areas. So share to keep your people aware. And Brother Hayes gonna be back. I'm pretty sure. You know, he'll let me know when he. Well, you know what? You know, I'm gonna be honest with Brother Hayes. I'm gonna let him know. I'm like, bro, we ready for you to come back. We ready for you to come back. Yes, sir. And one thing I like about your dialogue, brother, is that doesn't he make it so practical? It's like we just having a regular dialogue. It's like having a dialogue with Big Unc. You know what I'm saying? But we learn so much. You know what I mean? And I appreciate that energy. I appreciate that energy. Yes, each one teach one.
We all gonna read some.
Yes, sir. And I want to tell the chat thank you. Thank you, chat, for tuning in. Thank you for everybody that tuned in and listened. Because if you weren't listening, I was gonna say we wouldn't have a reason to talk, but to win a listen. Even if you're not. So I'm gonna retract that statement before I even let it get out. But anyway, Rod, we thank you again, honors and gratitude.
Appreciate you brothers for having me over here.
Yeah, definitely is a pleasure.
Yes, sir. And like I say, when I posted that you were coming, you know, I think you saw the reaction. Oh, he's got Brother Hayes. Brother Hayes always dropped the bombs. Okay. Make sure y'all view this one. Make sure y'all view this one. And thank you for sharing. Thank you for sharing. I really appreciate your support. Anybody that wants to donate, the Cash App is pinned in the comment section, and it's on the screen right there. Anybody that would like to donate, you can also super chat, super sticker right here through the YouTube. Right here on YouTube. You can do it now, you can do it later, however you want to do it. Me and Jarvis are sitting back making our plans to really take this to the next level, upgrade our visuals, upgrade a little bit of everything. We are planning on taking Let's Think podcast on the road. So we'll be in your area. Let's Think podcast might just be in your area. So
be on the lookout.
Be on the lookout. Be on the lookout. I can't thank brother Ryan Hayes enough for coming on. And agreeing to come back on. So
yeah.
Brother, to everybody in the chat, Brother McGriffell, Brother Rod, honest and gratitude for y'all presence, and we thank everybody for tuning in. This is Let's Think Podcast, and we're signing out. Peace.
Peace, fam.